Hello, this is Suzanne Porsky. You are watching and listening to Dime to Diamonds. I am with Phoenix Financial Group. I am joined today for a special one-off podcast. I have some special guests in the office with me today, and I wanted to take some time to share this amazing opportunity for those of you that have big hearts and want to give. To those of you, and I've had calls all week and will probably till the end of the year, your RMDs, those required minimum distributions. You don't have to take those directly and then hope to write them off on your taxes. You can take them directly from the carrier and put it to a 501c3, whether that's your church or a special organization. That's what we have here today is a representative from Project Hope, as well as a wonderful young man who is looking for opportunities to raise money so he can go on a missions trip. And I happened to see this on Facebook where he was selling chocolate chip cookies, yum, salted caramel and chocolate chip, pumpkin pies, banana zucchini bread, half dozen sugar cookie kits, all kinds of stuff to raise money for his missions trip. So that's how it started. Know Nicole from Leadership Broken Arrow, a program that I'm involved in and love. And so they're with us today. They are related. Thank you guys for being here.
Thank you.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Well, I'm Nicole Smith. I'm a business owner here in Broken Arrow, and this is my son, Cannon Smith. He's a 6th grader at Lincoln Christian.
That's awesome. So how did you come about Project Hope?
So actually, my best friend, Amanda Grace, is one of the directors over at Project Hope, and she asked me randomly, right when she started there, if I'd take off to Nicaragua with her. I was like, sure, beautiful beaches, I'm in, and didn't really know what I was getting involved in, but we showed up and was introduced to some of the most incredible humans I've ever met. Some of the most amazing kids in this world in the poorest country in the Western Hemisphere. And to say it was life-changing is an understatement. It completely rocked my world, and I knew I was in from that point forward. So
wow. When I met with Amanda, because it was put on my heart, God's got a huge heart for it, because he woke me up and said, I need you to write a check to this lady and contact her. So I did, and of course, as us women, we either go to the bathroom together or we meet for coffee. So we met for coffee. And she told me a little bit about it. And I was like, wow. It was almost like simultaneously is when I saw your post. And I'm like, oh, God, I see what you're doing here.
Yeah.
So,
well, God calls us to take care of the less fortunate. And that is absolutely what Project Hope is doing. And they're doing it all around the world. And I try to teach my kids that they're very fortunate.
Didn't you tell me that you take them when they're how old?
Going into 6th grade is where we start. So okay. He went the summer before his 6th grade year. We try to do things here locally, but leaving the country is a big step. But I think it's important for them to get out of our bubble, see what's happening outside of our borders. And so we took off for Juarez last May or June. It was in June. We left last June in the heat of the summer.
To go to
Juarez. Yeah. It was an experience. So it was a really cool mom and son trip. I think you would agree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How did it impact you? What did Mom say to you to get you to go? She just said you're going?
Yeah, mostly. she mostly just asked me if I wanted to go to Juarez and on a mission trip, and I was like, okay, let's try it out.
What did you do when you got there?
Whenever we got there, we talked about what we were mostly gonna do, and then right after that we met the kids, and one of the most heartfelt thing I've ever done, meet those kids, their smiles and everything.
Wwow. Did you know then you wanted to go back?
Yes.
What did you do? Just sit on the beach and sing songs?
No.
No, we were in the desert. There was no beach.
Sadly. Yeah.
What did we do?
We helped people in Juarez at the clinic. We helped the kids have a great time. Their education. We built a house for a girl named America. Wow. And yeah.
Built a house.
We built a house and
so gave her some shelter.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah. So Project Hope, they feed, protect, and educate orphaned and vulnerable children in Juarez, Nicaragua, and Uganda. in Juarez in particular, they really focus a lot on education and feeding those less fortunate. Some of these kids would not eat without Project Hope. They would not receive an education. The system there is on a private basis, so you have to pay to go. But if you're not making more than $5 a week, you're going to choose food over education for your children. So Project Hope has sponsors that we come in, and each child within the program is sponsored fully for their food and their education. On our particular trip last time, we also had the opportunity to participate in a house build, and we built a house in 2 days. We built a home for a mom and 2 girls that had nothing, completely homeless, and had walked from Mexico City all the way to Juarez for a better life.
And how long is that walk?
I don't remember. It was weeks.
Wow.
And a handicapped daughter. It was a heartbreaking moment, but I think, would you agree, seeing how blessed they were and how happy they were for what they got?
Yeah, it was an amazing experience.
Compared to what we have here, it's just mind-blowing.
What does it cost to, I mean, is there a threshold, a dollar amount to send somebody on a missions trip, or?
There is. It's different for each mission. So if you're going to Nicaragua, Uganda, or Mexico, it's very different. Mexico is a little bit different because we have the option to fly or drive, which is nice.
Yeah.
We chose to drive this last time. But the dollar amount, I'm really not positive off the top of my head exactly what it is, but I have it on our fundraising page of exactly what we need for both.
Okay, and you're going to give us a link.
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
so there's going to be a link to the fundraising page. And so tell me how you're raising money.
I
want to read?
Sure.
Cookies and babysitting.
Yeah, I was like, I'm like babysitting, baking chocolate chip cookies, salted caramel chocolate chip cookies, pumpkin pies, banana and zucchini bread, and dye half dozen sugar cookie kits.
DIY.
DIY.
Kits. So we're doing the sugar cookie kits where you can decorate them yourself. There'll be boxes, and it'll have all the icing and the decorations to go with them.
And this is all before Christmas?
Yeah.
Okay.
Thanksgiving and Christmas. So Cannon loves baking. He loves to be in the kitchen.
Really?
So
How
it's
awesome.
definitely his favorite thing to do. We did this for our last trip where he baked quite a bit and raised a lot of money. But he's also now a certified babysitter. So that's been fantastic.
That's awesome. Any age group that you like?
I like to babysit kids that are like maybe like 5.
So they don't need a diaper?
Yeah.
No diapers.
No diapers, please.
You got to tell the audience. I mean, you got to go, no diapers. Got to be able to do that on their own. So when do you leave on this next trip? Is the time picked yet, or is it?
We leave for spring break. So it's in March. I believe it's March 17th. We'll be gone that entire week. And I believe Amanda's going with us on this trip, so that'll be fun.
Wow. Driving, flying yet? You don't know?
I don't think we know yet. The drive's beautiful. So the drive all the way to El Paso is just unbelievable. And so we may choose to drive.
So you drive from here to El Paso?
Yes.
Do you fly the rest, or?
No, so Juarez is literally just right on the border. So we stay a night in El Paso. Once we make it to town, we'll stay the night in El Paso, and then we'll cross the border the next day, and we stay on site at Project Hope's mission there in Juarez. It's about a 30-minute drive across the border. And we're right on the outside of Juarez, the actual the town itself. So I know there's a lot of misunderstood notions about Mexico, but it's a very safe place to be. Their security is amazing. And again, I mean, the people there, they're just incredible.
How did Project Hope come about? Do you remember? I mean,
It actually started in Uganda. They needed an orphanage. There was kids there that just didn't have any opportunity, and it was a domino effect. They started a small school in Uganda, which developed into an orphanage, and then they launched one in Nicaragua, and it's really based off where they see the biggest need. And like I said, Nicaragua especially has a really special place in my heart, but it is the poorest country in the Western Hemisphere and probably the least understood or known in the U.S., what's really going on there. And the really neat thing about Uganda, too, is it's not just our orphans there, but they're getting an incredible opportunity in education, but they're also employing their widows so that these women don't have to orphan their children. They are able to come in as a widow with their children into Project Hope, have a job, create an income for their family while their children are also there getting an education. So.
Do I understand my story right with Amanda that once they're widowed and they go remarry, they can't take their children from their prior husband that passed away with them? So they have to leave their children.
That is the tradition in Uganda. That's part of their culture. It's something that in all three countries you'll see something very, very different amongst the cultures, but we go into it with that is their culture. It's different to us. So we try to teach the word of Jesus and make them understand like actually how God views a family, and through his word can we help transform that way of thinking.
Right.
But in the meantime, we're keeping them safe, we're feeding them, we're giving them an education.
Wow. I want to hear about, did you meet anybody there that was special?
There was this little boy. I can't remember his name, but it was like he would mess around, and seeing his smile was amazing. I would just like play around with him. I gave him a hat. Right?
Yeah, you gave him your hat. And there's a language barrier there too. I mean, we don't speak the same language.
Right.
Cannon has very little Spanish. We studied a lot before we went so that maybe they could communicate. But regardless of there being a lack of understanding of the communication, these kids just cling to you. And he did, man. He played with those kids from sun up to sundown. I mean, just nonstop in 120-degree weather. They were just constantly playing.
How did it change your life? Like, what was your thinking when you came back?
I was thinking like, whenever we got to the town, I was like, wow, like I can't believe it. And then once I met those kids, I was like, I was surprised how happy they were, like based on the state that they were living in. And it just changed my life because I figured out like how fortunate we are to be living in homes with family.
Mm-hmm. How about, does it help you when stuff, life happens, to go, you know what? Do you ever like reflect, this is nothing, this issue right here, right now is nothing compared to what maybe somebody else is going through in another country?
Yeah.
Yeah. We've had to have that conversation every now and then. I mean, he is 12.
What are we complaining about now?
Exactly. He is 12. So, but there are times we've had that conversation, maybe about a video game that somebody wanted, that it's been like, is this really a need? Can we think about this in a different way? And I think you've been really good about understanding that. And it has, I've seen it. I know at 12 it's hard to see it, but yeah. He has changed so much, and I've been so proud of him.
Did you see 12-year-olds there?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, there was a couple.
So when we were there, too, we had the opportunity because it was the end of school. So we did a big graduation party on our last night there for everyone who had graduated their high school program, but not only who was graduating from their secondary school, and they celebrated the kids coming up from elementary into their secondary. Wow. So it was a neat opportunity. I mean, so the age range there is anywhere from infancy to 18 that they're putting through and taking care of. So we have a ton of kids. I don't remember exactly how many were there, but
wow.
At graduation, I mean, man, they're all on the website. You can see every child that's enrolled in their program, and if they're halfway sponsored, some kids just need $15, some kids need $250 because they're not sponsored at all.
And that's on projecthope.org?
Mm-hmm. Project Hope Worldwide.
Project Hope Worldwide.
.org, I believe. It might
the link will be.
Yes. I will clarify that. But yes, I believe it's Project Hope Worldwide. And the really cool thing about them too, I have to brag on them. They're a staff of 4 people.
What?
And they're in Owasso, Oklahoma. There's 4 people that are actually employed. So what comes into Project Hope goes directly to the children. Like, they're not this massive organization pulling in money and lining their pockets, which we see a lot of. Right. Unfortunately, in the nonprofit world, everything that's coming in their doors is going right back out. the staffing fund, I forget what Amanda calls it, that's covered separately by a private donor. So what they're looking for when you donate and you specifically say, I want my money to go to Nicaragua, or you can say, I want it to go to Juarez, or dig down deeper and say, I want it to go to Isaac in Nicaragua, and it will go to him, and that money will go directly to feeding him, to providing the clothes that he needs, whatever there is.
Wow.
Dollar for dollar is directly sent back to them.
Now, who's the girl you talk about? Is there somebody that you guys sponsored specifically?
Isaac is, I just used him as my example, but Isaac is covered. Our family sponsors him. I met him in Nicaragua. He is the same age as my younger son, just a little spitfire, and you can see like the little deviance in his eyes, just like
a twinkle in his eye,
just like my 10-year-old, and you can just see the he was just so precious, and he lives with his cousin and aunt, and when I say they live our project sets in Thomas Borge in Nicaragua. Thomas Borge is the dump site for Leon, Nicaragua. Literally the dump where all the trash comes into. And these people of Thomas Borge are the outsiders of the community. They're completely outcasted from their community. Society doesn't accept them. And their living condition is literally tin pushed up against wood. Some people might have some cinder blocks. They're all living on dirt floors. There is no running water. There is no clean water. And a lot of the families are still going into the dump site, and that's how they're feeding their families, is by recovering food or recyclables to sell. And unfortunately, that's where a lot of these kids came from and were rescued from the dump by Project Hope so that they didn't have to live that life.
Wow.
And once you see it, it's just, you see poverty, but this is just so different than anything I could never have imagined. It doesn't matter what commercials you see on TV. You just can't imagine the way these kids are
being in their
forced
energy,
to live.
I'm just like, I picked that up on you. Like, just the what you felt is so much different, you know? And I don't know how you talk about without crying.
It's taken a lot of years and a lot of therapy. So, I came home with lots of tears, did I not?
That and an intolerance for people getting upset because, you know, they didn't get, you know, cold foam. They got warm foam or something on their drinks.
Well, we don't know what we don't know.
Right.
And that was something I learned in Nicaragua. I come home and you do see your kids, and they're so fortunate. They don't know what they don't know.
Right.
My youngest daughter refused to drink out of the tap when we got home. And I had literally just gotten back from a country who had no running water, and my kids had no running water. And I got home and she was like, "That's gross, Mom. I'm not drinking that out of the sink." And it hurt. But that wasn't on her. It took me some time to be okay with that. But that's not on her. She doesn't know what she doesn't know, which is all the more reason why I think it's so important for our kids to get out and see outside their bubble what life really is like, and help them understand how
Who was the
fortunate-
lady you built the house for when you were there?
It was
America.
America, yeah. I can't remember her mom though.
Yeah. So it was a mom who unfortunately had been left as a single mom of 2 kids. One was a widow. She actually had 3 kids, and one of them had passed away. And that's when they started their path to Juarez.
Okay.
And
didn't she have to make a decision if she wanted to eat? No. Yeah. And she didn't eat, so her children could eat. Mm-hmm. And that's where she heard of Project Hope.
yes.
And that's where it took. And I'm going from my conversation
with
with Amanda.
Yeah.
And she finally made it there. But
Every one of their stories, every single person you talk to in Juarez or any of these countries, they all have a story, and all of them are just heart-wrenching. And they all, some of them, yes, they're orphaned. They have no family, or they're just vulnerable, like America and her sister. They're vulnerable because their mom was left with nothing, and she was doing everything she can just to find them a life. But also, the jobs aren't there. There's nothing for them to do, and what they are resort to doing isn't safe. It's not healthy, and it only ends up just creating a worse cycle for their lives.
Right. So we were talking about the house. It's not anything real fancy.
Nope.
But it's a roof over their head and 4 walls.
Yep.
And that's what you provided them.
Yep.
And the square footage was, we did, 12 by 8, you said?
Yeah. I mean, it wasn't more, it may be 20 by 8.
Oh, 20 by 8.
Now that I'm thinking about it. It was a kitchen and 2 small bedrooms, no doors, no bathroom. And by kitchen, you walk in and it's a concrete floor. Project Hope finished out the home with everything that they could need. So we took in from El Paso over with like a dining room table. They all had beds and mattresses and bedding and a refrigerator, which was, unheard of. And to see the joy on their face, I think that was probably the highlight of the trip for me, was just seeing just how grateful they were for what they had. Wow. And what they were given. And it was so little. It was so little compared to what we have. So
if somebody was to send $500, does it go a ways?
Oh my gosh, yes. Yeah. I mean, $200 a month for anyone in Nicaragua, Juarez, feeds them and provides their education for them. Any other needs that they might, there's so much done behind the scenes with the staff that's there on site. Each project is ran by someone from Nicaragua or from Juarez and Uganda, and what they're doing behind the scenes too. It's so much more than just what we publicize, I guess.
Right. So it touched your life. Were you able to share it with other friends here?
Not mostly, no. I shared it with one of my best friends, Cannon, and he thought it was a great idea.
Yeah. Yeah. Unfortunately, I guess we went at the end of summer, so he hasn't really seen a whole lot of friends, and then we changed schools. So
there you go.
He hasn't really had a big opportunity, but you shared at church, and you've shared with all of our family. And
well, that's awesome. I love that you are doing this as a parent, and that you have an awesome set of role models to do this. I think I shared my little testimony one time. Attitude at Thanksgiving dinner, leading up to it. No mashed potatoes. I'm like, load up.
Yeah.
We're going to John 3:16. You're going to see what it's like when. Yeah. And those people. And, you're a fun sucker.
I thought about you the other day because I saw the Methodist churches down here. They're doing a free Thanksgiving dinner. And
I think it's great the kids go and do that. Yeah.
Absolutely.
They were going to 180 and they, they just lived in a bubble. Mm-hmm. And it's like, okay, you're going to go see what people are like that don't have.
Yep.
This.
Again, it's what we're called to do. And I think as parents, we're put on earth to be these parents and to be their guidance in the world and to show them what they don't know. And otherwise, they're going to go out in the world and being this selfish people that were raised it's not necessarily their fault if we're not stewarding them in the right direction and teaching them the right way.
Are you the oldest?
Yeah, he has a 21-year-old sister, but she's moved out. So he's the oldest in the house now.
There you go. Setting a good example. Well, thank you guys for coming by. And again, we're going to put everything in the comments and how they can order from you. I'm going to retype all the stuff or whatever, send it. And what is a good number, or how do they get a hold of you if they're watching this or listening to this to order?
Yeah, if they want to order, they can text me at 918-849-1260.
Okay. Did you hear that? And if not, you can always reach out to Phoenix Financial. I can put you in contact with them. But we want to thank you so much for joining us on this special episode today. And I absolutely know that you have got extra resources somewhere, somehow to support this cause. And, like you said, that's what we're here to do. Spread the love and give, and it's given unto us. Good measure, pressed down, shaken together, and running over. So you guys, thank you again for joining us. Make sure to hit the subscribe button, and we look forward to seeing you next time. Bye-bye.